From Flint, Michigan comes lyrical heavyweight, songwriter, and producer Jon Connor. The People's Rapper's back with a new album entitled 24, a hard-hitting collaboration with legendary No Limit Records producer KLC, the drum major. This dope new project features standout tracks like Story to Tell 2, Motivated, and The Biggest Flex featuring D1. In addition to this new album, Jon Connor's built an incredible legacy. He was signed to Dr. Dre's Aftermath Records, featured on the Straight Outta Compton soundtrack, named to the XXL freshman class, and has collaborated with legends like Snoop Dogg, The Game, Royce the 5'9", Talib Kweli, Terminology, and many more. His discography includes standout albums like Food for the Soul, War, and SOS2, The Road to Legendary, showcasing his depth, versatility, and lyrical brilliance. Tune in to learn about his journey in music, his new album 24, and what he's got coming next at 4 p.m. LA, 7 p.m. New York. Let's bring him in.
Peace, peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Salute and blessings, my brother. Thank you for making the time.
Nah, love, blessings, all of that good stuff, positive energy, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you, my brother. 24, what an incredible album for a person like you that's so prolific and that, is crazy with the pen, crazy with the performances. You
Thank
connected with another legend in KLC and brought this energy, right, with the new album 24. Talk to us about the album, how you connected with KLC, and why the sound of this album is different from other albums that Jon Connor's known for.
Well, man, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like KLC, and I've told him this a million times. He's honestly the reason I started rapping in the first place. Like I grew up a huge fan of Southern hip hop. You know what I'm saying? No Limit, Cash Money, 3 6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? Suave House, Rap a Lot. You know all of those labels because I'm from Michigan. So in the
Yeah.
Midwest, man, in the Midwest, we kind of we didn't get stuck on just regional things. We was a
Yeah.
melting pot. We got a chance to appreciate the West Coast, down south, East Coast. So it's like we heard a lot of No Limit, Cash Money,
Yeah.
and all of that in Flint. So their run was like when I was in like the seventh, eighth grade.
They had a
And
good run too. They had
yeah,
like a solid, that no limit era changed everything.
that's a fact. And so this is, during that time period where you kind of, finding your love for music. And I heard the beat for No Limit Soldiers and it changed my life. I had always wanted to be a musician because music was always in me. I just didn't know that hip hop was going to be the avenue that I got a chance to express that creativity until I heard No Limit Soldiers. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. It was his beats that made me want to become an MC. So it's crazy the way we met was I think it was South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, 2012, and we were it was at a sneaker shop, and Sway was doing Sway in the morning on XM radio at this sneaker shop. So it was like a lot of artists like coming in and out. So I was there to do an interview at the same time that KLC was there with Mystical, Mia X. I want to say Gangsta Boo was there. Just a lot of just legendary artists were all at this sneaker shop this particular morning. And I remember telling my homeboy, I'm like, I gotta go say what's up. I gotta go. I'm like, this is the dude I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that dude right there. So I go over to KLC and I introduce myself. And this particular South by Southwest, me and my homies, we drove however long it is from
Right,
Michigan
because that's a
to
minute from Flint to Austin to drive.
from Flint to Arkansas. It's a minute, man. And we took two vans, bro. And it was like I want to say 30 of us, and we all had on we was parading around South by Southwest with our army fatigues on and had the street signs, and we took it back to the old school street team type
Yeah.
hustle. And I remember telling KL, I said, listen, man, we drove a grip from Flint, Michigan to Austin, Texas, wearing our army fatigues and all of that, inspired by what we saw y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Just that whole movement of not just the soldier thing, but the solidarity and representing your hometown. Because when they came out, New Orleans wasn't on the map yet.
Yeah, they
So
they
it's
put
like
it on the map.
Absolutely. So that's how I always looked at Flint. I looked at it like, if they could come and make an impact like that for their hometown, for New Orleans, which really hadn't made its mark yet in hip hop, I'm like, that's what I want to do for Flint. And so after I told him that, and he just looked at me, he just like, he like, man, take my number down, man. So that's how it all began, like from South
Wow.
by Southwest 2012, and we like from that conversation on just always kept in touch. Our friendship grew and evolved throughout the years, and we would always say that we wanted to do a project together, and then it finally manifested. We finally did it. Like we finally locked in and made it happen. So 24 honestly is like a dream come true for 14-year-old me and 40-year-old me, because it's like, in life I feel like dream big and focus on checking those things off your bucket list of life,
Yeah.
and so to have created a project with KLC, who is the cat who's responsible for me rapping in the first place, and to have a project with me and him, and it featuring Fiend and Mac and DJ Paul and Lil White, all of these cats that I grew up being inspired by, Mr. Servon, you know what I'm saying? It's like honestly bucket list shit, man, and it's a dream come true, bro.
Yeah, it's like one of those moments like a 14-year-old version of you could see you now. You know what I'm
Right?
saying? He wouldn't
Yo,
believe it.
he wouldn't believe it. He wouldn't believe it. Like when me and KL, we were talking about we shooting visuals for records from 24, and he was talking about coming to Flint, and I'm like,
You
that's
coming to Flint?
insane, right? I'm like, what? Like that? I'm like,
And shout out to Flint, much love to Flint, you know what I'm saying? But I
yes.
understand you've put Flint on the map, and many artists and the grind of Flint, Michigan, Detroit, that whole thing that y'all have done out there and the love and support you have, you've done something very similar to what they did in the NO, you know what I'm saying? But before, 14-year-old, you couldn't have imagined it.
No, like to have the real KLC in my city, and when he come, because he said he gonna come, because we still got to shoot the videos. I'm gonna take him to like where I grew up, and so just so 14-year-old me can bug out even more, because I grew up like rapping on my mother's porch. So I gotta take a picture of me and KL sitting on my mother's porch, because that's gonna blow my mind to have a picture of that. Because here's the thing, I'll give you a little more insight. So, um, you remember rap songs in the 90s, they would kind of have like long outros to the record. Like a little bit of the instrumental would play like at the end. Because
Yeah,
the
you can
people,
rap over it.
yes. So like for the younger generation, y'all got to understand, we didn't have like, where you could just go get the instrumental off
Right.
the internet. You know what I'm saying? So what I would do was I would take the cassette tape, and then I would put the CD in, right? And I would loop the end of the instrumental, and I would keep hitting record to keep looping the instrumental, right? So I would create my own instrumentals from these No Limit
Wow.
CDs. You feel me? So it's like that's how I created my first instrumentals to start rhyming to. So 90% of these were KLC instrumentals. And then
Wow.
I would take my two radios, one of them would play the beat and one of them would record me rapping to it on my mother's porch. So it's like I gotta have a picture of that. I got to. I got to, man. But yeah, but that's how it all came to be. So it's crazy, man.
That's such a beautiful story. It
Man,
really
thank
is.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
brother.
you.
That's such a
I'm a
special.
Listen, I'm a spiritual dude, and so for me, it's like things like that let me know that there is a higher power. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, because that is so specific to my story that is just like, how does this even happen? How does a kid from Flint who passionately loved like No Limit and Cash
Yep.
Money and 3 6 Mafia, how does this happen where I just so happen to run into him at the sneakers store, and then we just so happen to click, and then so I say, like, anytime that you keep having to say it just so happened or coincidentally, it's not coincidentally. That's God, that's the spirit, that's the
Yeah.
higher power, that's the
Yeah.
thing, that's the source that's higher than ourselves, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. And the name of the album, 24, does that have a is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. So me and KL, we was on the phone, and I'm thinking back to the conversation. He was like, so what we gonna call this motherfucker? And then I was like, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm normally pretty good at coming up with album titles. And he's like, when you say you found my music, I was like 97. I was like when the TRU album came out. And he was like, and what year is it now? So whatever year it was that we decided that we was gonna do it, he was like, it was 24 years after I first heard the TRU album. So he was
Wow.
like, so that's 24. It took us 24 years to make this motherfucker, huh? And
Wow.
I was like, damn, yeah. He said, well, that's the name of that bitch. It's 24. And that's the story. That's the story. That's how it. And I was like, there it is. It's 24. So yep, it's 24 because it was 24 years between the time that I first heard his beats and the journey that it took for me and him to meet each other and create this album. So that's why it became 24. And so we were saying like the next one that we do, we just gonna keep it going. The next one we do will be 25, and it'll be 26, and then 27. So 24 is the beginning though.
That's dope. That's dope. Now, you mentioned Toy Soldiers, right? And the inspiration he had on you. Are there any, to fully unpack this and give KLC his props, his proper dues? What other songs or albums by him had, a big impact on you? He did a lot of production. He really defined a whole sound and era, and a region, really, right? You could kind of look back and be like, this era in hip hop, and then you can associate it with him and a few other producers. But if you had to point out like a couple of songs or albums that like, nah, this right here really had a tremendous impact on me, my style. I was bumping it in the Walkman and the Discman. What first comes to mind?
When you said that, like so many joints came to mind. I would say first and foremost, I'll start with individual tracks and then I'll go to projects, right?
Yeah.
I would say there's a record called Heaven is So Close on Mr. Servon's Life Insurance album where he flipped the Earth, Wind, and Fire sample. And I just remember my mind being blown just at how soulful that joint was because at that time I associated the South with like turn up and bounce, you feel me? But this
Yeah.
was like it kind of had like that East Coast sample chop, but it gave you emotion, you feel me? Um the song We Riders on Masterpiece Ghetto D with Master P featuring Mac. Um the song man, all of No Limits albums started with like what they end up terming like a soldier song, where these were like posse cuts, but they was like turn up. You know, that I always looked at them like they were the offspring of the original No Limit Soldiers beat, right? Where they kind of
Yeah.
had that bounce, that snare, that like Southern March, marching band type snare
Yeah.
drum, right? So all of the soldier songs that were like the first tracks on the No Limit albums, like he did all of those. Um,
Wow.
he did he did, Move Bitch Get Out the Way for Ludacris. You know what I'm saying? Which is still, if you play that right now, anywhere it's gonna go crazy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Excuse the profanity if I can't. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, we live on the
okay, cool.
internet, brother. This is all,
Okay,
what I'm saying.
cool.
And people ask me that I think sometimes 'cause I come off as proper, but like this is real. This is you. This is your moment, and absolutely be 100% yourself.
Okay, cool. He made fuck them other niggas, cause I'm down for my niggas with
Yeah,
Snoop.
I mean,
Yeah, with C Murder, Magic, God Bless the Dead, and Snoop Dogg. Which if you play that right now, anywhere that's gonna go crazy. He produced Make 'Em Say which still goes crazy to this day. He produced like just so many mainstay staple joints of Southern hip hop, and not just Southern hip hop. I say just hip hop in general.
yeah,
And as far as projects go, um him and Craig B of Beats by the Pound were like kind of the and I believe Carlos Stevens were like the three main producers on Fiend from No Limits second album Street Life. That album for me was the first time that I really understood what it meant to like conceptualize and have a album that had a cohesive sound to it, because at the time No Limit, which was all I was listening to at the time.
Yeah,
It was like turn up, bounce, right? But by the time you got to Street Life, it was a different tone, a different feel. And KL made a beat on there called Talk It Like I Bring It, which musically blew my mind. The way that he used an actual vocalist, but he used her voice like a sample that kind of happened throughout the record. You feel me? And
yeah,
then just the timing of it, the swing of it, like just that Street Life project was one that really impacted me. Obviously Master P's Ghetto D as a project impacted me like crazy. Mac Shell Shocked had a huge impact on me. Fiend, There's One in Every Family. Mia X's Unladylike. Silk the Shockers, Charges to the Game. C Murders, Life or Death. Um, Skullduggery, These Wicked Streets. All of these joints were the joints that like I was looking at and studying from just a standpoint of things that feelings that I wanted to accomplish like when I started to create music. And not to get too long winded, but I want to say this too.
yeah,
My man, my brother, my dog, David Banner had mentioned this, and I call him that because he's given me wisdom that I feel like will last me a lifetime. So shout to David Banner. But he just recently said something in his interview with Shannon Sharp that he puts KLC and Beats by the Pound in the same category of the Neptunes, of Timbaland, of
yeah,
just as far as moving the needle and having an impact on hip hop. And
yeah,
I think, it sucks sometimes because I think Beats by the Pound and that No Limit run happened right before producers really started getting credit, or you really started knowing who
yeah,
producers were or checking the credits. So I just want to, just like what David Banner did in his Shannon Sharp interview, I always want to be an advocate for not only KL, but also the whole Beats by the Pound, because I think that they should be mentioned more, like in
yeah,
hip hop conversations. And I think that their impact on hip hop is just as significant as the Timberlands, as the Neptunes, as the Kanye West, as the Manny Freshes. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So yeah, shouts to them, man.
Yeah, that's a really, I think, important observation that they're slightly the generation, not even generation. It's like a few years. It's like they're like 4 or 5 years before producers really started to get their shine and recognized, and they changed. Now you know who produced something.
Yeah.
Producers are collaborating with artists, and their names are on the albums
Yep.
now, right now. But in
Yep.
that era, it wasn't really like that.
At
There were
all.
other dope things, right? The really dope things that No Limit was doing with the independent game, the moving units out the trunk, the artwork, the CD case holders. I remember they were just, I mean, they did
Yeah.
everything very different.
Everything from a marketing standpoint, like everything about they run caught your attention. The music was different than what was happening. The packaging was different than what was going on.
Yeah,
It was from a different region. It wasn't the West Coast. It wasn't the East Coast. So
yeah,
it allowed you to excuse me. I always look at hip hop as kind of like it's the news, and it always will be.
yeah,
It's like we're communicating what's going on in certain parts of the world through the music. It's like, No Limit was letting us know, like, this is what it's like in New Orleans. This is our culture. This is what we listening to. And it was like, we hadn't had that before. So I 100% agree.
yeah. That's so. Now you talked about KL coming to Flint and working on some visuals. Have you guys determined, any of the visuals? Is there anything that you can share regarding what visuals you're thinking about shooting off of the dope new album available everywhere right now, 24?
Uh, KL said, "Shit, we should shoot a video for every song on that motherfucker."
Absolutely. You got
If
some
we,
featurings though too, because if you could get the people, I know
yeah,
people want to see you with D1. Come on, I
yes,
mean, there's a lot that needs
yes.
to happen for sure.
Yes. No, I'm actually yeah, that's what we shooting for. We want to shoot a video for every song on 24, so we try to make that happen.
That's really, really dope. And you also talked about, the title of this album came because when you first started collaborating with KL, it was 24 years after he had first become that producer for you.
Mhm.
But moving forward, you're probably going to call them 25 and moving forward, does that mean there's more in the works? Like you're already, because I know this joint just dropped, but are you already cooking? Because you're so prolific. And he's prolific. You know what I'm saying? So like you're a workhorse. It's hip hop is dope because artists are within all types of music. I think when it comes to hip hop, we have that do it yourself spirit. We're not gonna ask for permission, and we're gonna make things happen. But amongst hip hop artists, you are in rarefied air. Your grit, your grind is special even amongst your peers. Are you already cooking on 25?
Well, for one, thank you for that compliment, man.
Absolutely, brother.
I truly appreciate that, man. Because a lot of times, just who I am as a person, I'm a show people with my actions type guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really about accomplishments or whatever, or my work ethic. Is like I'll show people through the work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I really appreciate you saying that, man. Um, yeah, we already, like, I'll say the talks. We in talks. Like, we want to start shooting these videos for 24, but already, yeah, I'm always be super honest. The last conversation we had was, bro, start sending me joints for 25. So we about to get it popping. So we already in the works to start making 25.
that's really, really dope. And in regards to fully wrap up this specific project, 24,
Mhm.
are there any thoughts? We talked about the visuals, we talked about KL coming to Flint, but in regards to merch, any shows or performances or things related to the rollout of this album, is there anything else that you want to share to make sure that we covered it all?
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure y'all visit www.connorculture.com, CONNORCULTURE.com. Please go, because we got 24 merch. The merch is dope too. I gotta make sure. See, I got on my Twin Flames merch. Twin Flames is a project I did with an artist out of the Bay. Her name's Tussie the Rapper. Is dope. Y'all go check that out too. But yeah, I gotta start rocking my 24 merch. So go get some 24 merch. Normalize supporting the artist, like, get the art directly from the artist. You know what I'm saying? So you can do that at www.connorculture.com. But and is there anything else I want to say about 24? Yes, man. Please go listen to it. Just the goal for me with 24 was a couple things. Was one, like I said, it's a it's always been a dream of mine to rhyme over KLC's production. Also, I just I don't like talking about what I don't like about hip hop or what I don't like about the game. I look at it like, whatever you go, make the music that you wish people were still making. You know, like,
Yeah,
a lot of times you hear conversations where people are like, I wish hip hop was still like this. Well, why don't you do it? If you miss
yeah,
boom bap, like, Pete Rock type joints or DJ Premier type joints, make a project like that. If you miss, like, for me, I miss on a consistent basis being able to hear, like, bounce KLC type joints. So I was able and put into a position where I could make that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I seen Rick Rubin say one time, he said, I don't make music for the people. I make what I like, and then the people that like what I like will gravitate to it. And
yeah,
so that's kind of my perspective, where it's like, I want to help people through music, but when I get in the studio, or my approach is like, if I like it, then I'll find my tribe of people that like it too.
yeah.
So, man, as far as 24, man, we just wanted to make a unapologetically KLC and an unapologetically Jon Connor project, and put those things together, give it to the people, and see, what I'm saying, who rock with it. And fortunately for us, man, the response has been amazing. So if you haven't listened to it, please go check out 24 by me and the legendary KLC of Beats by the Pound, man.
It's incredibly dope album. Do you feel that this sounds like a No Limit record? Does it sound like, because it's 2025.
Mhm.
You're from another part of the country, and hip hop has changed and evolved from that era. But it is KLC, and it is you. You know what I'm saying? You got that energy. What are your thoughts with what you created? Is this sound like a No Limit record, or would you say that it's maybe something different, but it has aspects in regards to like the drums and things like that?
Yeah, I think that it sounds like a KLC record. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I do, because he was the lead, one of the lead producers over there. I don't even like saying the term lead because all five of Beats by the Pound were lead producers. So because his sound is so closely associated with the run of No Limit, that it's
yeah,
only, you know what I'm saying? It's only natural that people of our era is going to say that. But here's the thing. This is a observation I had one day. So at some point, our whole generation, 100 years from now, we all gonna be gone, right?
yeah,
And the kids of 100 years from now, when they scrolling through their phone and they researching music, they not gonna know like when what came out. They're just gonna
yeah,
know what's pleasing to their ears. So
yeah,
for me, I'm just loving contributing to the grand scheme of music. Like it's
yeah,
like I want to make music that sound like everything. I love that I just got to make a project that takes people to a certain time in their life, that era. You know, when No Limit was dropping albums every month. I love that. But a
yeah.
100 years from now, I'm gonna love the fact that when somebody discovers Master P and they related artist, Jon Connor gonna pop up and then they'll, you feel me?
Right, right. The future algorithm
The
is gonna
future
say you might
algorithm,
like
right?
this. You might
Yes.
like this.
Yes, the future algorithm when they're suggesting these albums that inspired me, it'll be related artist Jon Connor. So I
Yeah,
think that that's cool as shit. So yeah, man, I just think it's cool as shit, and I love it. I love it. I said in another interview like I all I wanted was for KLC to unapologetically do what KLC do, and
yeah.
I'm gonna unapologetically do what I do. Let's put that shit together. Boom, and then that's what it is, man.
That's dope, man. Congratulations to you and KLC on a tremendous album. You've been busy in 2025. Food for the Soul came out earlier this year. Talk to us about that. It has a different sound. It wasn't with KLC. Talk to us about that album.
Yeah, shouts to the lead producer on that project, Dylan Cush, man. He's out of Canada. Super duper dope producer. I want to do more work with him, man, like because we got a super crazy chemistry as well. Um yeah, Food for the Soul. I had fun making Food for the Soul. It's some gems on there, I think. I love that project, man. You just took me back because I've been so much
Right,
I've
because
been
the album with KLC is so big,
yeah.
right? But this wasn't that long ago.
Right, right. Literally, Food for the Soul was January. Yeah. So, yeah, I loved making that project because I just wanted to make again something unapologetically hip hop. Like when I made the 24 joint, I knew exactly the sound that we wanted to make. Then with Food for the Soul was the same way. And it's like the people that hunger for that type of joints that I grew up loving in my high school days, albums like Common's B album or Common's like Water for Chocolate, you know what I'm saying? Or man, just early Kanye, like, College Dropout and Late Registration and
Yeah,
man, that
that early Kanye is a different sound from the later
different
Kanye.
sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Those are really dope conceptual albums with soul samples and
Yes.
uncommon movie samples, and you don't even know where the
Yes.
sound came from, but it's dope.
Yep, straight up. And so with Food for the Soul, that's kind of where I was at with it, where I just want to make something that's that. No more, no less. I'm about to give you this food. You about to get them over these boom bap hip hop joints. I felt like the collaborations on there was amazing. Shouts to Daylight, who I told him to his face, I think he's a genius. Like some of the shit that Daylight says in battles and also on records, I just think it's genius level. Shouts to my dog Jag. Shouts to the locksmith. Who else was on? Shouts to Dizzy Wright. And that album, I just Food for the Soul. I feel like is one of my proudest moments, just as far as the cohesiveness of an album and establishing a vibe from beginning to end and accomplishing what I was trying to accomplish with that project.
Yeah, and it's really dope to hear you over different styles of production. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank
it's
you.
your voice, it's your lyrical content, it's your soul, your spirit, your mind. But the balance is different. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
you balance it
yes.
around it different. It's dope.
Thank you, man. I hope what people get out of that is that I love all hip hop. Like I said, man, I grew up in the Midwest, so it was like we heard Bones. So I have the
Yeah,
ability to turn on like the double time flow, and but also I heard Chicago. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I said, mentioning Kanye and Common and Crucial Conflict and stuff like and Do or
yeah.
Die. Then I heard the West, what the West was doing, DJ Quick and Battle Cat and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Like then I heard the East Coast, I heard Jay-Z, I heard, so it's like I am literally, and then as far as production, I was always huge on 3 6 Mafia and all. So bruh, is like I just as an artist want to express myself in all of these different ways. Like you know what I'm saying? I never want to be boxed into you know what to expect 100% from a Connor album. If anything, you know I'm going to put my heart and my spirit into it and try to give you food for your soul and your brain. But as far as production wise and just how it's going to all come together sonically and production wise, I always want to keep people guessing.
That's dope. You know, when we were talking about the 24 album, you talked about the impact of the production that KL had on you and how that kind of helped you know that you wanted to rhyme and kind of move into hip hop. But prior to that, right? Because you know, you're you're starting a record label and doing mixtapes at a very young age is legendary. But were you done doing like other music things? Like, did you play any instruments? Did you do any other music things before you started rhyming?
Man, my mama put me in the band when I was a kid. I played the trumpet. I fucking sucked, bro. Like
The trumpet's hard, bro. I
it
love the
is.
trumpet as far as instruments go, but and I got one time, and it is
Yeah.
so hard to blow a note.
It is, bruh. Like, and the funny thing about that is my sister was really good at the trumpet. So like, so like,
She
the
was showing
teacher,
you up.
yeah, so the teachers thought I was gonna be good and shit, but I wasn't. Like I was a disappointment on the trumpet. But far as like early music stuff, man, I learned how to play the keys by ear. And when I say play, I say that lightly because I've been around people that really can play. I say that as a producer, I know how to get my point across on the keys,
Yeah,
but then also production wise, I'll call in musicians, you know what I'm saying, when I need them
right.
to expound on ideas that I've done or whatever. But yeah, early in my life, musically, it started with yeah, just playing around on the keys and figuring it out. And so that was probably like my earliest, like just dibble and dabble with instruments, and that probably started when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old.
And at what point did you, I guess, discover your ability with language, right? Your ability with word, that's a gift that MCs have. Their
Hmm.
voice, the way they could think quickly, when they talk, people listen, their ability to connect ideas, right? All of that comes together in rap music, right? At
Hmm.
what point did you start to figure out, you know, some people start with poetry in English class, some people start in the cipher. You know what I'm saying? Was there a moment where you started kind of piecing it together and being like, I'm nice with it?
Yeah, it was actually I know exactly when it was. It was second grade. Um it was second grade. So I don't know, did y'all do this in school in second grade where like, okay, let's say the entire class was reading together and everybody would have to read a paragraph?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so like the teacher would go around the room and pick somebody to read the paragraph.
Yeah.
So like I remember I couldn't wait to read a paragraph because I was flexing. Like I knew that I'm like, oh shit. Like I just get it. And also I went to Catholic school, so every Wednesday we would have mass, right? And they would pick a student to read in front of the entire like school. And I always thrived in anything that had to do with public speaking or spoken word or written word, whenever it was English class or something of that. Like I thrived. I just got it. I just understood it, you know. And so I remember one time, the thing that changed my life is one of those times that I had to speak in front of the whole school at mass. Was I did really really good, and my teacher got super excited, and I'm like, damn, I can make people this happy from just doing something that come naturally, you
Yeah.
know. And so from that point forward, it was kind of like I knew I was good at understanding like just language and communication and public speaking and stuff like that. But from when I seen the excitement on that teacher's face, it made me. Her name was Miss Nelson, by the way. She just in case any of her friends or family ever
Shout
see
out
it.
Miss Nelson, bro.
Shout out Miss Nelson, man. So yeah, but seeing her response to that, just like wow, I want to elicit that response more often. So it was second grade, and I give all credit to my mother for that because my mother always wrote poetry. My mother's actually writing a book right now, and
Wow.
yeah, my mother is definitely has always been into literature, and I think that as far as my genes, that's where it comes from.
That's dope. That's dope. Thank you for sharing all that. I think that gives people a lot of context into your skill set, behind the scenes, and also in themselves, other artists. Just how does a Jon Connor come to be? You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, I appreciate the question, man. Thank you for taking interest in for real, man. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, bro. We've been unpacking the new album 24, available everywhere now, and an earlier album you released this year. But is there anything coming up that you want to start to, share with people? You have a lot of performances. You have a lot of other types of telecommunications like podcasts and creative ventures that you're a part of. Producer, record label, other artists that not only are you collaborating with, but that you're helping them with your knowledge of the industry. What other aspects of things that you're working on aside from the new album 24 do you want to share with us?
Well, yes, thank you for mentioning all of those things. I have a pro wrestling podcast called Culture Mania because I'm a big ass kid. I've been watching pro wrestling since I was man before I could even remember. So everything is content
Right
nowadays, and
back when it was WWF.
yeah, back when it was WW. Don't get me excited. See, Bray, you almost got me excited, dog. Yo, back when it was WWF, dog, the World Wrestling Federation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I have shouts to my man Donovan. We have a pro wrestling podcast called Culture Mania, which new episodes are up on my site, connorculture.com. Also, I have a hip hop podcast called the Connor Culture Podcast. Shouts to my dogs L Boogie, G Money, J A, who co-hosted with me. And we just talk about my journey, my experiences, from being on a major to being independent and just how I feel about the game in general. And then also musically, yep, 24 is out right now. Me and Tootsie the rapper, Twin Flames is out right now. Food for the Soul is out right now. And I've been dropping a record every week as a part of this campaign called 52 Weeks, where I've dropped a new record every day every week this year. So we gonna see if I can make it the whole 52 weeks where I drop a new joint every week. So far, so good. So y'all make sure y'all go check those out. Me and my homeboy Smitty, producer out of Atlanta. He's super dope. He's produced on my project 3. We got a pretty ambitious plan for 2026. It's
Wow.
gonna be no, it's gonna be crazy. But we got a project dropping before the end of this year, which is kind of nuts. And also, me and my dog I Rock, who's a producer out of Detroit. That's my dog. We got a project coming too, I believe, before the end of this year. Me and DJ Silk, who I met when I was on Aftermath. We have a project called 413 that's coming as well. So just more music, more content, man. Just staying on top of it, man.
I think a lot of people, when that don't rhyme, that don't make music, they love music, they love, creativity, and they hear about rappers that are as prolific as you are. I've had the experience of being in a studio session with rappers that will hear the beat. It's like the Holy Ghost hits them. You know what I'm saying? And boom, they start this. It's 4 bars, then it's 8, then it's 16, then they come up with a hook. They start recording right there, and by the end of the first verse and hook being, laid down, they've got the second halfway done. Then and it's an amazing thing to watch. People who haven't seen it before are not as immersed in hip hop culture. They've never seen anything like that. When you have, Food for the Soul, and then you've got 24, you've got more work coming, and then you've got the song a week. People are just blown away by that level of productivity because they're dope songs, right? It's like not,
Thank
you know
you.
what I'm saying? you're not capturing freestyles. You're actually putting together conceptual songs over dope production, well mixed, well laid out. Take us into the studio with you, how you lay down a song. What's that process like? Do you write? Do you do it off the top of your head? Does it take a lot of time? Does it take a little bit of time?
You actually described my process when you were talking about that. That to a T, because that's how I normally describe it. I hear the music and God come through and the words just come.
Wow.
Like literally. That's why I have to create the song in the moment that I feel it, because the longer that I listen to it, the more I'll start overthinking. So what you hear when you hear my music is the first thoughts that I thought as soon as the music came on, and I have to sit down at the mic and go immediately from my brain, you know what I'm saying, to the spirit coming out of me, and then and then that's how it happens every single time. I haven't written a rhyme down since 2011. So everything from 2011 on has been that process, and it was crazy how that happened because I was creating so much music and I was trying to keep writing it, but it was like my thoughts were moving faster than my hand could write it. You feel
Yeah.
me? So that was starting to get frustrating. Like I can't write this shit fast enough. So I, I was just like,
Right,
yo,
and there's something lost. There's something lost if you
yeah.
try to like structureize it.
Yes. So then it became just, man, let me just cut the mic on and just go straight from here into the microphone. And so yep, that's been my creative process since 2011. And yeah, every time, man.
So given in 2011 you were kind of figuring out this approach.
Hmm.
Now in 2025 you probably have it down to a science. You know
Hmm.
how to do what it is that you do. Is it
Hmm.
different now from how it was back in 2011?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like in 2011 I felt like uh I felt like I was cheating the process because it didn't take me as long as writing.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to become confident in the new process because I never wanted to feel like I was cheating the audience,
Yeah.
or because this was the first way I felt that because this shit wasn't taking me hours anymore, that
Yeah.
I felt like, am I cheating the listener? Like am I truly giving my all? And so it was a time period where I struggled with that, where it's like, should I go back to writing? And it just didn't make sense to go back to writing. So now, for me to not feel like I'm cheating the audience, and I can say that I got this from my time spent with Dre, where
Yeah.
it's like, write the record, do it, but listen to it to make sure that you're not just saying some bullshit. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like listen to it in the car, live with it for a little minute. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That became my new process of making sure I was giving it my best, putting my best foot forward. So
Yeah.
I would say now you're absolutely correct. I'm 100% confident in that process. But in 2011, I struggled with feeling like I don't want to just be saying anything and I'm not giving my all. And I felt like because it wasn't taking me as long, I associated that with, am I somehow not giving everything I got to the audience?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's hard not to talk about there's like a Mount Rushmore of hip hop, and you've been around some of those people. You mentioned Dre and Aftermath. Um, right now, you're very much dropping new music and incredibly relevant as an MC and doing amazing things. So I don't want to spend too much time on many of your accolades, right? Being signed to
For sure.
Aftermath, songs with Snoop, The Game, Double XL, freshman class cover, and so much that you've accomplished in your career. But I think that, um, it's probably important to mention at least something for the listeners and it being caught. The fact that you were signed to Aftermath Records, you've worked with Dr. Dre and Snoop and The Game, and you've been at that level at the highest of the peaks in hip hop. I guess what I would ask is, what you learned, and it's tough to, I guess it's tough to put it all into like just a few sentences, but as best as you can, what you feel you learned and you brought into, with you now back into the indie game from your experience of, being around one of the greatest producers of all time, Dr. Dre, one of the most iconic record labels of all time, Aftermath Records, and then so many other individuals related to that and to West Coast hip hop and hip hop culture. What nuggets did you, bring with you back to Michigan?
Man, I appreciate your questioning, man. I really do. Um, that is a dope question. One thing that popped up in my mind when you asked the question was to trust my instincts, because I can remember coming up in Flint, my thought process and the way that I create records, and when I would try to produce artists in my hometown, or I would be around people, or the circle of people that was around me, it was like everybody had an opinion of like I feel like this is when I was younger now, right?
Yeah,
It's like people would say, "Who you think you are? You don't just know everything. You don't." Right? It would be like that. When I got around like Dre and Game and all these type of people, it was like I was right. The way I was doing it was the right way to do it. The fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I got to like Aftermath, like it was like, damn, it was confirmation that I wasn't crazy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That, you know what I mean? Just from the perspective of how can I say it? Just from the perspective of there would be times where Dre and I would talk about, like, okay, so when I was around him and I would be recording, and I would be recording the way that I record, I was
yep,
nervous at first because I'm like, well, Dre, I don't really write nothing down, and you know, because I have expectations in my own mind of, well, he wants it to be done like this, or he's gonna want to be done. And he
right,
told me, he said, John, there's no wrong way to do this thing that we do. He said, however you do what I heard you do out of those speakers, do that. He said, I'm not trying to interrupt that process. He's like, however, whatever I heard you do before, if that's what you got to do to get it done, there's no wrong way to do this. You know what I'm saying? Or even just with bouncing ideas and being in like a creative circle of people and thinking and rethinking ideas, and you know what I'm saying, just listening to music from different perspectives. It was like when I got around the greats of the game, and that's even like I say, Dr. Dre, Game, but even, you know, the Kelly Prices and the Kiki Palmers of the world, and you know what I'm
yeah,
saying, and the Marsha Ambrosias, and like all these people I've been fortunate enough to be around. It was like it was confirmation, like of like, damn, so I really did know what I was talking about. And I think that being around them gave me more confidence and confirmation. And I always, when I was around them, I would shut up and listen and learn and watch. And like I say, it gave me confirmation that I was right about a lot of things, but it did also make me grow. And don't second guess yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like if you feel an idea in your heart, go with that, run with that, you know, exhaust every idea that you could possibly have for every record until you, when you listen to that song, you feel like there was nothing else I could have did. And if somebody don't like this shit, it just wasn't meant for them to like it. But I know I did all I could do. So I think just the mentality, what I brought back to Michigan after my time spent at Aftermath Interscope Records was the idea of don't be afraid to collaborate. Don't be afraid to trust yourself. Don't be afraid. Understand that your voice is an instrument. Don't get locked into just sounding one way all the time. Like your voice is an instrument that can bring things out of the beat, you know what I'm saying, and make people listen to a record differently
yeah.
if you don't just approach a record the same way every time. Um, I think that what else would I say that I learned or brought back? The collaborative spirit of just, you know, don't be selfish. And not that I ever was, but just it gave me more confirmation of like, don't be selfish. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter who gets credit for the idea. Our
yeah,
main goal, the song is your baby. So it's like if we're coming from a perspective of like we're parents, right?
Yeah.
The song is our baby. So the parents, it don't matter who buy the milk for the baby, as long as the
Yeah.
baby gets the milk. It don't matter who changed the diaper that day, long as the diaper get changed.
Yeah.
So when we look at music, it don't matter who wrote the hook. It doesn't matter. Give me credit, me. No, music has to be as unselfish as taking care of a child. You don't, the song has to be the most important thing in the room, not your
Yeah.
ego, not your credit, not your whatever. If you got a dope idea for a bridge, or if you feel like if even if it ain't your song, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you hear an artist doing something and you can contribute and be like, yo, it might be dope if you do this, man, that's what music is about. You know what I'm saying? And when people play that record back and it gives them that feeling, and you know that you contributed in that way, and you get to see how it made people feel, that's the beauty of this thing we do, is being completely unselfish, you know?
That's dope. That's dope, bro. So many gems. So many gems there, my bro. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much. My bro, out of all of the areas of this country, Michigan in that area is one of the areas where people give the most love. I mean, they support each other, they build each other up. They've had to, right? Because it's not Atlanta, it's not down south, it's not New York, it's not LA. And I know that there's always a lot of support there. Plus artists that you're working with, your own record label as a producer and as an MC. As we start to wrap up, I want to make sure you get a chance to shout out any of the folks you work with and that you're supporting and helping and that you want to make sure that you're putting on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm working on writing and producing an entire R&B project with an artist by the name of Nikhil Johnson. She's on my project 3. She's on Food for the Soul. She just amazing. And she's always helped contribute to my project. So as a writer and producer, and just as a fan of her gift, I'm like, yo, I want to produce a project and write a project for you. So her project is called R&B, and that's ARE and BE. You know what I'm saying? R&B is coming soon. So Nikhil Johnson, big shouts to my sis. Shouts to my dog Jay McDowell, who does all of the mixing for my projects. Shouts to Smitty Boy, one of my frequent collaborators, and one of the illest producers. Period. Shouts to my assistant Lindsay. Shouts to my right hand man, my cuz B Newbie. And shit. Who else? I'm trying to think. So yeah, just shouts to everybody that support. But far as artists that I collaborate and work with, but Nikhil Johnson, that's the next thing on All Varsity Music's you know what I'm saying, list of things to do, as well as me and Smitty Boy's project that's coming up.
That's dope. That's dope. Jon Connor, it's been an honor to have you on the show. 24 is a banger.
Thank you.
What an
Thank you.
album. And I really appreciated the story of how, growing up as a kid, these were the first hip hop albums, the first production that really impacted you, and how you've gone full circle and now you've made the album with KLC, and y'all made an incredible album with 24.
Thank you so much, man. It's been
Yeah,
such a pleasure. Thank you for the sincerity. Thank you for the genuine energy. Thank you for actually you know what I'm saying, taking the time to sincerely give a fuck about, this conversation, man.
yeah,
So I truly appreciate you. I look forward to doing it again, man, when I drop the project
absolutely.
with Smitty, man. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen, my brother. Salute.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Peace.
Love.
Love.